The Adebanjo family yacht cut through the moonlit waves of Lagos harbor, its polished decks gleaming like bone. Temi gripped the railing, the salt wind whipping strands of hair free from her tight bun. Below her feet, in the yacht's opulent main cabin, her father held court with what remained of his inner circle. Pastor Nike's manicured nails dug into Temi's arm. You don't understand what you're doing. That footage from 1999 dash was supposed to be destroyed, Temi finished. She shook off the pastor's grip. Yet here we are. Emeka emerged from the stairwell, his usually impeccable suit jacket now streaked with blood. Not his own, Temi noted. Security's handled, for now. He tossed her an extra magazine. He's got 6 men downstairs, armed better than we are. The yacht's engines changed pitch as they reached international waters. No turning back now. Temi checked the pistol's load and led the way down. The scene in the main salon belonged in some twisted Nollywood film. Chief Adebanjo sat enthroned in a leather captain's chair, his 3 most loyal bodyguards flanking him. The massive LCD screen behind them played grainy footage of a younger chief on a dark dock, supervising the loading of suspicious crates. Ah, Chief's voice boomed across the cabin. My prodigal children arrive. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Tell me, did Lola send you, or is this your own entrepreneurial initiative? Timmy leveled her gun. We're here for the truth. All of it. Chief sighed, as if disappointed by a poor business proposal. He clicked a remote. The video changed to show a different night, different crates. These were smaller, human-sized, dated 12 December 1999. You want truth? Chief chuckled. Truth is, Nigeria runs on 2 currencies, oil and secrets. I merely traded in both. Pastor Nike made a strangled sound. You promised those records were destroyed? And you promised discretion with my donations. Chief's gaze turned predatory. Yet here we are. A new voice cut through the tension. Enough speeches. Lola Adebanjo stepped from the shadows near the bar, her own pistol trained on Chief. We're not here for confession. The cabin erupted into chaos. Temi dove behind a sofa as gunfire shredded the air. Emeka took out 2 guards with frightening precision before a bullet grazed his temple. Pastor Nike screamed and scrambled for the exit, only to be yanked back by Chief himself. Lola never flinched. She advanced on Chief like a woman walking to market, each step deliberate. 25 years, she called over the gunfire. 25 years of your lies. Chief backhanded Pastor Nike aside and raised his own weapon. And whose lies are worse, eh? The ones I told. He fired. The bullet struck Lola's shoulder. Or the ones you believed. Tammy saw red. She squeezed off 3 rounds. The first missed. The second struck Chief's thigh. The third dash. The yacht lurched violently as an explosion rocked the stern. The screen displaying Chief's crimes shattered as the boat listed starboard. Through the smoke, Timmy saw Emeka wrestling with the last guard near the shattered windows. Chief was crawling toward an emergency hatch, his blood leaving a slick trail. Lola, despite her wound, reached him first. What happened next would haunt Temi forever. Her mother leaned close, whispering something in Chief's ear. His eyes widened. Then Lola pressed her pistol to his knee and fired twice. The second explosion came as Temi dragged Emeka onto a life raft. The yacht's fuel tanks ignited in a fireball that lit up the pre-dawn sky. As they floated further away, Temi could just make out a single figure standing at the yacht's flaming railing. Lola's silhouette remained upright until the very end, watching as the waves claimed her husband and his secrets together. The Lagos shoreline glittered with debris from the Adebanjo yacht, charred wood, shreds of designer fabric, and a single Louboutin heel bobbing in the oily water. Timmy stood ankle deep in the surf, her tailored pantsuit smeared with ash, staring at the smoldering wreck. Somewhere beneath those flames lay her father's empire, his lies, his legacy. Emeka limped up beside her, pressing a bloodied handkerchief to his temple. We need to go. The Coast Guard will be here soon. Temi didn't move. She stayed. Lola made her choice. Emeka's voice softened. Now make yours. 3 days later, the Adebanjo mansion felt like a tomb. Temi paced her father's study, now hers by default. The safe hung open, its contents spread across the desk fake passports, offshore account details, and a faded journal labeled December 12th, 1999. She flipped to the final entry, December 12th, 1999. The senator's wife fought harder than expected. Tunde handled it, but will need to silence the dock workers. Tunde suggested the church pastor will take care of it for 10%. The dates matched the New Life megachurch's first donation. Temi's hand shook. Her father hadn't just laundered money, he'd laundered murders. A commotion erupted downstairs. Temi grabbed Chief's old pistol just as the doors burst open. You look terrible, cousin. The woman in the doorway wore a replica of Timmy's favorite Dior suit, her smile sharp enough to draw blood. Behind her stood two armed men and a lawyer clutching familiar-looking documents. Adesua Adebanjo, the woman extended a manicured hand. Your father's first daughter. Flashback. Port Harcourt, 1998. Young Chief Adebanjo paced a hospital corridor, ignoring the wails of the teenage girl in delivery. The nurse handed him a squalling infant. A girl, sir. Chief didn't touch the baby. Make it disappear. Present day. Adeswa dropped a DNA test on the desk. He paid my mother 500,000 naira to pretend I died. She spent it all on drugs. Me? I built an empire. She leaned closer. And now I want yours. Temi's phone buzzed a security alert. The camera feed showed Pastor Nike, very much alive, sneaking into the estate's chapel. Take whatever you want, Temi said, edging toward the door. It's all cursed anyway. In the chapel, the scent of incense couldn't mask the gun oil. Pastor Nike knelt at the altar, frantically prying up floorboards. Looking for this? Temi aimed her pistol at the pastor's back. Nike froze. Beneath the boards lay stacks of cash, gold bars, and a DVD labeled Lagos, December 12th, 1999. He promised me protection, Nike whispered. Temi ejected the DVD. From the truth or from her? The chapel doors creaked open. Adesua's laughter echoed off the vaulted ceilings. Oh, this is precious, the saintly pastor and the broken heiress. Nike lunged for the gold. Temi fired a warning shot. Enough! A new voice roared. Tunde stood in the doorway, his face still scarred from the yacht explosion. In his arms, a bloodied but breathing Lola. The chapel fell silent, except for the ragged breathing of Lola Adebanjo as Tunde lowered her onto a pew. Blood seeped through the makeshift bandage around her abdomen, but her eyes burned with the same fire Tammy remembered from childhood. Across the room, Adesua clicked her tongue in mock sympathy, while Pastor Nike edged toward the open floorboards and their glittering temptation. Temi kept her father's pistol trained on the pastor, but addressed Adesua. You don't want this family. It's rotten to the core. Adesua laughed and picked up the DVD Temi had dropped. Rot is just fertilizer for stronger roots. She turned to Lola. Mother never told you about me, did she? Lola's voice came out hoarse. I knew. I always knew. The night Timmy turned 5, Chief came home smelling of cheap perfume and gunpowder. He thought I was asleep when he whispered to Tunde about the baby girl in Surulere. A gasp came from the altar. Pastor Nike had pried up another floorboard, revealing stacks of aged newspapers. The headline screamed, Senator's Wife Missing, alongside a photo of a beautiful woman in 90s fashion. The same woman from the dog footage. Tunde stepped forward, but Lola gripped his arm. Let them see. Adeswa snatched a yellowed page. This changes nothing. It changes everything. Temi moved closer. That woman was Chief's first wife, the real Mrs. Adebanjo. She pointed to the DVD, and whatever's on there is why he had her killed. Pastor Nike suddenly scrambled backward. The gold. Take the gold and let me go. Lola coughed blood into her hand. You blessed the bullets that killed her, Nike. Now you want absolution? The chapel doors burst open again. Emeka stood framed in sunlight holding an old VHS player. Found this in Chief's panic room. His gaze locked on Lola. You're supposed to be dead. Lola smiled. I got better. Temi slotted the DVD into the player. The screen flickered to life, showing shaky footage of a younger Chief Adebanjo arguing with the senator's wife on a moonlit dock. You promised me shares in the port project. The woman's voice trembled with rage. Instead, you give my position to your mistress. Chief backhanded her. The camera panned to reveal a teenage girl hiding behind crates, Adesua. Mommy, the senator's wife turned in shock. You brought our daughter here? Chief pulled a gun. Now she'll understand why business comes first. The gunshot echoed through the chapel speakers just as real-life Adesua screamed and lunged at the screen. Lies! These are all lies! Temi caught her by the wrists. The dates match. The location matches. You were there. Adesua collapsed to her knees. He told me she abandoned us. Lola struggled upright. Your father built his empire on dead women. First hers, then mine. She nodded to Temi. Finish it. Temi ejected the DVD just as armed men stormed the chapel. Adesua's security team, their leader, took in the scene. Orders, ma'am? Adesua wiped her face and stood. Burn it all. Every photo. Every file. She met Temi's eyes, starting with that. As the men advanced, Emeka tossed the DVD into the baptismal font. Too late. Lola pressed something into Temi's palm, a tiny USB drive shaped like a crucifix. The truth has backups. Outside the chapel, window smoke began to rise across the Adebanjo estate. Adesua's voice carried over the crackling flames. Welcome to the family legacy, sister. The Adebanjo compound burned like a sacrificial pyre against the Lagos night. Temi watched from the safety of the chapel roof as flames licked the sky above her childhood home. The heat reached her even at this distance, carrying with it the acrid scent of burning memories, photo albums, silk drapes, the four-poster bed where Chief had once threatened to disown her. Adesua's men moved through the grounds with methodical precision, dousing strategic areas with petrol. They left the staff quarters untouched. A small mercy or calculated move, Temi couldn't decide. Behind her, Lola wheezed as Tunde tightened the tourniquet around her waist. The wound from the yacht explosion had reopened during the chapel confrontation. We need to get her to a doctor, Emeka said. Lola shook her head. Not yet. She pressed the crucifix USB into Temi's palm. Play it. Temi hesitated. The estate was crumbling. Adeswa had won. What more could there be to learn? The answer came in screams from the east wing. Adeswa's men came running out clutching their faces as thick black smoke billowed from the windows. Not ordinary fire. Chemical. Chief's panic room, Emeka realized. He rigged it to burn if breached. Temi slotted the USB into her phone. The video loaded to show Chief Adebanjo sitting at his desk, a half-empty bottle of whiskey beside him. He looked decades older than the man who'd boarded the yacht. If you're watching this, I'm dead. His voice rasped through the tinny speakers, and Adesua has betrayed me. He took a long swig. I always knew she would. The camera panned to reveal a safe behind him. Combination 121299. Inside you'll find the original shares to Adebanjo Holdings. 51%. Not for Adesua. Not for Timmy. For the boy. Static swallowed the screen momentarily. When the image returned, Chief was holding a faded photograph of a child in a boarding school uniform. His mother was the only woman I ever loved, the senator's widow. I couldn't protect her, but I'll protect him. The shares activate when he turns 25. Until then, Lola controls them. The video cut to black. Lola's breath came in shallow gasps. The boy, he's at King's College. Emeka cursed. We have to move. Adesua will be heading there now. Temi helped Tunde lift Lola. The older woman's skin had taken on a grey pallor. Leave me. Get to the boy first. Temi shook her head. We're not leaving anyone behind. Not again. They staggered through the burning compound toward the garage. The vintage Mercedes still stood untouched, keys in the ignition. Chief's final arrogance, believing no one would dare take his favorite car. As they pulled out through the gates, a figure stepped into their path. Pastor Nike, her once immaculate white robes now streaked with soot and blood. She raised her hands. I know where Adesua is going. Take me with you. Temi hesitated. The woman had betrayed them all. But the desperation in her eyes was genuine. Get in. The pastor climbed into the back seat beside Lola. She leaned close and whispered something that made Lola's eyes widen. Temi glanced in the rearview mirror. What did she say? Lola's lips curved into a pained smile. The senator's widow didn't die on the docks. The Mercedes roared toward Lagos Island as behind them the Adebanjo Empire burned to the ground. The Mercedes screeched to a halt outside King's College, Lagos, just as dawn painted the sky in streaks of orange and violet. Temi killed the engine and studied the imposing gates through the windshield. The prestigious boarding school stood silent at this hour, its red brick buildings holding generations of elite secrets. Lola slumped against the passenger seat, her breathing shallow. Tunde had stemmed the bleeding, but she needed real medical attention. Soon. Emeka checked his pistol. We go in quiet. Pastor Nike clutched the back of Temi's seat. His name is Aid. Aid Williams. He doesn't know who his father was. Temi exchanged a glance with Emeka that explained why Chief had hidden him in plain sight. A common surname, a prestigious school, the perfect camouflage. They slipped through the side gate where a sleepy security guard waved them through after spotting the Adebanjo name on Temi's ID. The headmaster's residence glowed with light despite the early hour. Too early, Temi muttered. They approached cautiously. Through the window, they saw Adeswa sitting across from a gray-haired man in a dressing gown. Between them stood a lanky teenager in rumpled pajamas, his face a mirror of Chief Adebanjo at that age. Timmy's breath caught. The boy. Adeswa was speaking animatedly, gesturing to documents spread across the headmaster's desk. The older man looked unconvinced. Then Adeswa slid an envelope across the table. The headmaster peeked inside, and his demeanor changed instantly. "We're too late," Emeka whispered. Temi kicked open the door. The scene froze. The boy Ade looked up with wide, frightened eyes. Adeswa sighed as if annoyed by an interruption. The prodigal sister arrives. Temi kept her weapon trained on Adesua. "Step away from him." Adesua laughed. "Or what? You'll shoot me in front of children." She turned to the headmaster. "I believe we were discussing my brother's transfer." The headmaster swallowed visibly. "Yes, of course. The paperwork just needs. There will be no transfer." Lola's voice cut through the room as she limped inside, supported by Tunde. "The documents you're holding are worthless." Adesua's smile faltered as Lola produced a yellowed envelope from her blood-stained blouse. The real will, signed and witnessed the day before Chief's supposed death. The headmaster reached for it, but Lola pulled back. "Aid Williams stays at King's College under his current name until his 25th birthday. Then he inherits controlling interest in Adebanjo Holdings." Those were Chief's terms. The boy found his voice. "I don't understand." Pastor Nike stepped forward. "Your mother was a good woman. She died protecting you. Now we're here to honor that sacrifice." Adesua's hand crept toward her purse. Tunde's gun cocked loudly. "Try it." A tense silence filled the room. Then Adesua lowered her hand. "This isn't over. It is for you." Lola nodded to Emeka, who produced handcuffs. "The police are waiting outside for the murder of Chief Adebanjo." Adesua's composure cracked. "That's impossible. There was no body." Lola smiled grimly. "Exactly." As Emeka led Adesua away, the boy Ade looked between them all. "Who are you people really?" Timmy holstered her weapon. "Family, complicated family." Outside, the first rays of sunlight broke over Lagos. The Adebanjo Empire had fallen, but perhaps something better could rise from its ashes. Epilogue 1 year later. The newspaper headline read, "Adebanjo Holdings Reborn Under New Leadership." The photo showed Timi and Ade standing outside the rebuilt headquarters, shaking hands with the governor. In the background, Lola watched from a wheelchair, her health never fully recovered. Beside her, Pastor Nike had traded her robes for a business suit. And on a private beach in Seychelles, a figure watched the news report on his phone before tossing it into the ocean. The waves carried away the image of Chief Adebanjo very much alive as he walked into the sunset.